Hi friends, in this video I'm going to speak about the 3 ways that you can bring your spouse to the United States. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Friends, thank you so very much for watching McBean Immigration TV. I love having you with me. I'm an immigration lawyer for those of you who are new to me, and I'm here in New York, in Elmont, New York, and this channel is devoted to providing information about the immigration process here in the U.S. I teach how to apply for a green card, how to get U.S. citizenship, and certainly how to get yourself out of difficult situations along the way, right? How to apply for waivers, how to defend yourself in immigration court. So this is where it happens. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe if you have not yet done so. So let's just go right to it. How do you bring your spouse to the United States? Your spouse may be in another country and may have been visiting you here in the U.S. since you've been here. And you've come to the point where you're thinking, I need my spouse with me. Who doesn't need their spouse with them? And so what are those 3 ways? The first way certainly is to apply for a green card for your family, to initiate or start the green card process. Green card is also known as the immigrant visa. So you would file the I-130 petition, family petition, and your spouse will go through the consular process back in your home country. If you're eligible, only if you are eligible to petition for your spouse can you do this, meaning that you of yourself must either be a green card holder or a U.S. citizen. Otherwise, you cannot file the I-130 petition to allow your spouse to get an immigrant visa and come to the United States permanently. Number 2, the second way to bring your spouse to the U.S. is through what we call non-immigrant visas. Now, non-immigrant visas are temporary visas, meaning that there's a duration on it, right? The spouse may be able to come here for 3 years, 6 years, depending on the type of visa that you have sought for him or her. What are those types of visas anyway? What are those non-immigrant visas that you can consider applying for your spouse? Well, first of all, you must be the primary holder of the visa, right? You must be the principal applicant, meaning that you already have this visa and you're not bringing your wife and maybe your children who are under 21 and unmarried. You're bringing them here to stay with you for that duration of your visa. So for example, the E1 or E2 visas, those 2 visas, the E1 visa is for spouse and children of E1 traders. E2 visa is for the spouse and children of E2 treaty investors. Then you have the F2, which is a more common visa. You may be familiar with the F1, which is the student visa. So the F2 simply is the visa that would allow your spouse and children to join you here in the U.S. And of course, you've heard of the H visas, the H-1B, right? Temporary worker visa programs. There's the H-2A. There's the H-1B, which is for aliens in specialty occupation or profession. There's the H-2A, which is agricultural workers who are performing certain agricultural services that are unavailable here in the U.S. There's the H-2B, again, agricultural workers. Then you have the L-2 visa, which is for spouse and children of L-1 visa holders, and it goes on and on. There's the O visa, the O-3 visa, which will allow you to bring your spouse and children under that visa category. In my free mini guide, which is linked below, go ahead, download that guide for a better full list of those visa categories that you can consider based on your status. If you are L1 visa holder, certainly you can bring your spouse and children over here on the L2 visa. So take a look at my free mini guide to see what those different categories of visa holders are. And then thirdly, the third way that you can bring your spouse to the U.S. is through a regular B2 visa, which is the visitor's visa. If your spouse wants to come here on vacation or a very short stay, he or she can obtain the B2 visa to come visit with you maybe for the summer and then go back home. Strategically, let's back up and think about this from a strategic standpoint. You have to ask yourself several questions before you could even think about bringing your spouse to the United States. First of all, you have to ask yourself, what is my status? What is my status? Do I have a green card? Obviously. Am I a U.S. citizen? What is my status? Because your status will determine what strategy you can employ, right? So for example, if you have a green card or U.S. citizenship, you could petition for your spouse for permanent residency. Number 2, are you, as the petitioner, are you eligible to be a sponsor if you were to petition for that person for a green card? Meaning, are you earning enough money here in the United States to be eligible to file for your wife or your husband? There's a very, very helpful tool on USCIS's website. It's a nice table that tells you what the income requirement is with respect to the affidavit of support. I'm going to put a link to it below in the description box. Check that out as well so that you can check your income to determine whether or not you're eligible to sponsor your spouse. The other strategic question that you need to ask yourself is, how long do I want my spouse to stay here in the U.S.? Do I want my spouse to come here temporarily? If so, obviously, and you're a non-immigrant, you have a non-immigrant visa, certainly you could bring your spouse along for a temporary stay here for the duration of that visa as well. Or if you just want your spouse to come here for the summer or for the holidays, then it just makes sense to have him or her apply for the B2 visa rather than going through a lengthy process to obtain another visa type. Those are the questions, friends, that I would say you need to ask yourself when you're thinking about bringing your spouse to the United States. Did you find this helpful? If so, go ahead, comment below and tell me what way did you use or pathway did you use to bring your spouse to the U.S. Friends, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.